what Glowfrost is going to bring. They were able to turn up in that series. On the opposite side, Omit, they were able to take care of business versus Cabal. Cabal opened up this series with a magnificent opening HP, but then fell short on the following couple of maps. Some very close maps, but just some tough decisions being made in those crucial moments. Then when you got to the elimination round 3, Luxury Exotic just met a more experienced roster in Omit. You ran into Spart, you ran into Standy, who was making so many plays in that round yesterday versus Luxury Exotic. He did not allow the SMGs to ever get flowing, so they were able to cruise their way through that series. But now we're in the final 3. Royal Spartans, who came out really flat yesterday. That's the thing that scared me mostly about this roster, because they're usually a team that if they start off on the right foot, they can steamroll everyone. But when you start off slow, when you're seeing those mistakes, then you start, it comes back to bite you, and then you have to make up for it. And right now, you don't really have a lot of time. You're one and done.
Yeah, candidly, I know we were all kind of sitting after the broadcast, you, me, and our producer Colton were kind of talking about what we think the outlook for today is going to look like, and just based on the eye test from yesterday, it definitely felt like we very much could be destined for an Omit Grand Finals. But let's be honest, Call of Duty is a very day-to-day thing, sometimes a very hour-to-hour thing. We've seen it before, where like teams can come in the first 2 maps and completely stink, and then you just take a mental break, you have a small little kumbaya, you turn up, and they find reverse sweeps. I don't know if this year has been maybe the most in terms of like finding the most amount of almost, if not full, reverse sweeps, but I really do feel like we've had a lot of 2-0 starters this year in both challengers and the CDL, and we end up still looking at a map 5 with anticipation. So we'll see how things unfold, because for the Royal Spartans, yeah, there were a handful of vulnerabilities and weaknesses that we really pointed out. The same could be said, though, for Omit, making a couple of mistakes, but getting through largely thanks to their slaying presence. So here we go, lower finals. Omit taking on the Royal Spartans for a chance to meet up against Omit Brooklyn in the Grand.
Yeah, Spartans better come out swinging, and that's the young man on that side of that gunfight who I want to talk about. Put a lot of focus in. It's going to be Wiz. This is the deciding factor to how the Spartans are going to play today. You know, he is always thinking about the pace he's able to set with the SMG, but the finessing as well was crucial to his success with this roster. Could not really get his footing in yesterday, but like you said, today's a totally different day. Off to a 3-1 start. You already have 20 seconds off of P1. Spartans coming out swinging out the gates.
Yeah, and with these last 18 seconds remaining on the P1, already earning 20, you can do exactly what the Spartans are attempting to do, which is put a little bit of pressure through Rockside over to P2. But Omit are primed for it. They're ready for it. They get the read, and that's only going to come really at the cost of a couple of more seconds earned on the scrap time at P1. 2-2 split off here, though, for the Spartans looking for their break. And honestly, Omit are prepared for both these hits simultaneously.
Oh, yeah, they both win one-on-one gunfights. So now you instantly put yourself in the numbers advantage. The last 2 players alive from the Spartans want to find to make those kills or wait for the teammates to come back into the play, but Dak is able to pop a triple. Close spawn still in for Omit, so Dak is going to be isolated in the corner. He eventually is going to fall, but all that distraction allows his teammates to break through the front.
Yeah, really, it's like, and it won't be a successful break in this attempt for the Spartans, but it does neutralize and contest and even earn yourself a little bit of time over the middle portion of this hard point. And now Pinch starting to develop. Standy in the corner gets the full read, deals with it cleanly, and with 22 seconds remaining, the Royal Spartans are spawning over through Fountain and backside Rock, and I just don't know if they have the proximity to do too much to try to contest this scrap time.
Nah, yeah, you really don't want to die off rotation as well, because already on the route is going to be Lin, so that's back spawn is going to be in for Dak. It's going to give the comms that, all right, someone has already slipped their way on through, so we have to try to locate this player, but Lin's is making the most of this life. Teammates back into the play. You're able to make it a contest fest off the rotation to New, and now it comes down to just a 3v1. You have the numbers. It should lead to a break for Omit.
Yeah, Dak does well to catch one. Opportunity for, the Spartans to gain some ground on their hit from the front. Mamba back up towards office. Stunned, actually lands, but yeah, it took a minute for Mamba to lock down where Brack was, but as he does, kills are starting to come through. Andy, 1 HP in the backside of fences, and the follow-up from Dak. Good for the double. So the break comes through here for the Spartans after the last really kind of hill and a half had not really looked all that good for them. But again, just banking off that opening 28 seconds, they find themselves in a tie game regardless.
Yeah, that was all it came down to. Just all that time they soaked up off P1, that one little mixy moment that they had at P2 still keeps them right into this game. But Omid right through the front door, find every single kill in the feed. Now they're in a position to win that old time and win gunfights off the rotation. They have the power spots, already find 2 kills off the roto. So you're going to be in a position to set up here at New, but these spawns are getting a little bit mixy. You're going to have the player coming off ult and Spark gaining some info and just securing that one-on-one still makes it a 3v3 here at the New Hill.
Yeah, really good map so far from Spart. Even in that opening breakoff, he was able to get 3 eliminations to reduce the presence that Royal Spartans were able to put together. And at 11-5, he's still been a provider of a number of key eliminations, key 1v1s, to allow opportunities for Omit to win in some pivotal moments and across these 50-50 hills. So 30 seconds already done and gone. Lynn's hitting a bit of a route, shut down as he was just overwhelmed by how many Spartans were playing top office, but the read will be in. And Omit, yeah, looking to play off some timing here with Standy. Whoa! Oh! Turned down and smoked by Wiz, though, and now the break attempt starts to look a little bit more significant.
Yeah, stands a better chance, but you still have a lot of players here for a moment. They all get taken down. Wiz with 3 in a row. Able to find that final 15 seconds at that old HP, but we cannot allow the game to be dictated by the way that the Omit players are playing. Like, they are just being the team early off the rotation, trading out more effectively, being in positions to where they can soak up a majority of the time before you're even contested. So, for the Spartans, we got to start playing a little bit more tighter, a little bit more safer. Can't afford to hit any junk times with 20 seconds when we're banking on a rotation.
Yeah, really. I mean, at this point in the game, through one set of hills, you're really kind of summarizing this first set as the Spartans just need to get a rotation win. They haven't won a single set over towards 2 or to 3 at the moment, and that 60-point gap very well could get more deadly if that doesn't change as we start to finish off P1 again and look over towards the right side of the map at P2. This time, though, Spartans investing a little bit more in terms of how they want to try to rotate over, and Spart will not get a full read on how many members are trying to play through this top hallway position.
Oh, but for some reason, he's still alive. Thankfully, Wiz is able to take care of him. So if you are Wiz, you're just expecting, okay, I found 2 kills. We should have this rotation. But Cruz, instead of playing from the backside, decides to pitch to the front. So now he's going to be surrounded. His life is useless. And Omit now have the numbers off the rotation again to a money hill.
Problem is, Standy's going to be stuck here at driveway. He really cannot contest this member in the back. And look at the spawns for the 2 members for Omit. All the way out towards Boathouse as the new hardpoint had not been opened yet. And now Cruz can really continue to force these spawns to be so far away with this position at Rock.
And it looks like Omit is going to commit on pushing this from the front. You have one player delayed pushing through middle of the map. He is going to get back down, but Wiz isn't going to give up on the gunfight. Now 35 seconds. You're trying to make a miracle happen through the front door. Thankfully, Standy opens up with the first kill. You cannot allow this to happen if you're the Spartan trying to climb back in the game.
Well, on the cross, Wiz almost able to save things at the front doors, but not the case. Spawns are still in for the Spartans, but that's going to feel more like a trap here, especially if Spartan can hold towards Lambo. He does get traded. Danny playing alongside Brack as best as they can inside the old time. Good for 1. Dak and Cruz, the team work out for the finish, and even though it's not a perfect P2 by any stretch of the imagination, it is enough to get the Royal Spartans back to within 30 points.
Oh, yeah, and if you're a homie, you're happy as hell that you were able to make that as mixy as you did, because through the front door, you're not really banking on that push. It's like a last hoorah play, and it worked out to not really allow the Spartans to soak up a lot of that time. Now off the rotation, you have been uncontested for the first 10 seconds. You're banking on this pinch if you're the Spartans. You go 2 for 2 in the split fights, but now it's on Brack, and Brack with another multi-kill. Secures the spawns for his team, and now they continue to soak time.
Yeah, first 25 seconds done, and Omit have found 15 of those or so. Royal Spartans not able to do too much from the front. Second attempt starting to come through. Lynn's keeping his focus down low, but now they know that Wiz is also playing for the patio control. And yeah, this has been a really good hard point for Omit. Just again, not allowing the Spartans really even any sort of a realistic chance to do much more besides just a couple of seconds of contest. So lead back up to 45, 50 points, and we rotate over to P4 where Standy's already kicking us off with the first blood. Spark looking for the trade, and we'll find it.
Yeah, and this is not how you're going to get back into the game if you're the Spartans. You have to be the team early on over towards this money hill. Thankfully, the trade effect was at the right time, but last man standing is going to be Standy. Brack eventually back into the play. Now it's a 4v2. Now making a 4v1. Cruz, you just got to hold the pre-aim. Find a couple kills for your teammates off the respawn to make it way in.
Yeah, Spart just doing so much damage. Standy right there to follow up on it, but Wiz, again, just the creator of opportunities. Finds himself 2. Brack does find the nade onto Mamba, so it gives him just a 1v1. And now the contest over towards the open hallway, and Brack's got a pretty much solid full read on this. And yeah, just the Royal Spartans, just, again, a couple of moments here or there where they're getting 20 seconds of time or so, but in the scheme of how this game has gone, they have not been able to put together really anything significant yet.
Yeah, you just haven't won the rotations to both money hills. Like, majority of the P2s have been dominated by Omit. Both P4s have been dominated by Omit. And you're just always just not in that situation to have the numbers in those fights. It's like a 3v3 and make it a 4v3 because Omit have a man up after they get the first kill. So you're always the last man standing for the setup. Now a tall ladder to climb here if you are the Spartans trying to climb your way back into this game. Just need to get a lot of time off of the P1. You found at least 30 seconds the first go around. We're going to need that again.
Lins through bar side, reacts and deals with Cruz in the hard point, keeping this game at a very significant margin. And Omit can they honestly can just hold here and play keep away from the right side of the map for the last 30 seconds and just win the game on P2. Well, with Stanny and Lins getting essentially a full wipe, and there it is. Now you can actually get a little bit more time. Again, it's just like the spawns flip here and like there's an opportunity, but it's still like you're getting an extra maybe 20 seconds on P1. And the Spartans can't allow that to happen. So they have to challenge from this side of the map, and now the spawns flip again.
Yeah, that's why it's so tough, because you're down by so much. So you're just simply not in a position to allow them to soak up the final 20 seconds and bank on that rotation over towards New. Still an 80-point difference. 2 players from Omit contesting for those back spawns. Oliver Spartan's going to play tight through the front. Make sure you get your trophies down, because here comes the bombardment of tacticals.
Yeah, the nades actually are getting into the front door. Stuns, frags starting to land. Whoops.
Bad nade.
Yeah, that one unfortunately doesn't get all the way through, but Lynn still makes up for it, finding a kill inside the hard point, and one more beyond that, leading to contest, and Brack will clean things up. 38 seconds left of this hard point. Chance to still win it here if they get every single second. You don't figure that's going to happen. There'll be some level of contest. But the problem is the Spartans have to fight the war on 2 fronts. You've got to challenge as much time here as possible, and you still have to rotate the dudes. Not what you would call a recipe for success.
Oh, but where's at least having the highlight play there? I don't know how he lines up 3, make it all 4. Leads to the break there for the Spartans. Maybe a little bit of a spark, not into this map, but maybe the next. Because you only needed 17 points. You had the rotation again over towards P3. Omit had just been in the driver's seat this entire map, number 1. Need to find kills quickly, and you find the opening, so you can contest, but you just need to keep on trading. 3v3 now.
241, 164, and Wiz still staying alive. Mamba a little bit of support to hopefully keep the play from the front as an opportunity, but last 4 seconds, everyone's just got to run forward, contest as much as humanly possible, and hope and pray they can find some corner of this hard point to stay safe, but no. Skills just too convincing. One more player to grab, wanting to get there in time, and yeah, the story of map number 1 is that just Omit really didn't make any mistakes. I would say there was, some P1 time at the very beginning. The second P2, Spartans did okay on, but honestly speaking, whenever Omit had a setup and a rotation, they really only missed out on maybe 15 seconds in total, whether it be contest or a break. It's just there was never anything significant for the Spartans to get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, there was no need for them to ever be in panic mode. They felt like they were in the driver's seat the majority of the time, even when they gave up initial 30 seconds at that P1. They won the rotation over towards P2, and at the end of P2, with about 20 seconds left, Dak just decides to push through top hallway and give up his life, and now you're spawning at old. So now it makes your teammates panic, because once he spawns at old, the comm comes in, someone has slipped on through. Lins also finds a second kill, so now 2 players are all the way across the map. You were banking on to just trap them in towards the backside of P2, but that didn't go your way. And then Omit, from that point on, just started to take the front foot and push it forward every single time. We're going to be the team early off the rotation. We're going to be the team that have the numbers on the power hills and always have the last man standing. And you just consistently trying to play catch up there if you're the Spartans. We got to be able to cut our losses completely, not one commit on old time, and then completely dismantle the play off the rotation. It's got to be more structure going into these next couple of matches for the Spartans, because it's not going to look good the same way it didn't look good in their opening series yesterday.
Yeah, and I think that is the overarching narrative is, kind of comparing what we see here, map number 1, to what we had seen yesterday. There isn't enough difference, right? I think on the other side for Omit, talking about some of their follies that they've experienced in this stage. I think in particular with some of their playoff matches, none of those were really all that present in map number 1. Again, like a 250-164 in a map like Hacienda just really tells you the story of, like, at worst you're trading 40-20s, and that math works out for you more often than not. So good opening start there for the hard point if you're Omit, but now we go to a Hacienda search and destroy, and we say this every time, at least I say this every time. This rural Spartans team, whether you know them as that or if you know them in the past as YFP, they've really preferred this Hacienda Search and Destroy in the history of their Challengers Elite runs. So a good opportunity and a good venue for them to try to bounce back, but kind of reflecting on map number 1 to what we saw yesterday, not enough potency there, maybe outside of a couple of individual sparks to lead towards much hope and faith if this starts off slow for them.
Yeah, it already starts off slow. You want it to be the team to open up with the opening hard point. Now you're banking on a Search or Destroy, which every single time we talk about this lineup, we always talk about how good they are at Search and Destroy. But just recently in a couple of their series, like yesterday versus Omit, like they got slammed in S&D, like multiple times where you're just giving up that free first blood. You're taking too much of a risk, getting caught out of position, and then just not allowing your teammates to have an advantage in any of those rounds. That cannot be the case today, because on the opposite side, you're going up against Omit, a different Omit. Yesterday played Omit Brooklyn. Today it's Omit. There's still two Omits in the squad. But this Omit squad played Hacienda a lot yesterday, and it was relying on what Linz and Stanley were able to do. They had so many different routes, so many different plays, and they took their time and always played their situations correctly with their numbers. So if you give up that free first blood, just say GG on the round, because they're not going to give up free ones to you.
And you also got to keep in mind that even against First Blood, the Submit team were able to benefit off of like a Linz 1v3. I mean, they're just they're so good at creating their own opportunities in low number situations that I think is one of the things we haven't really mentioned a ton of, but it is something that you look at in terms of like the best CDL Search and Destroy teams that we have is like, yeah, First Bloods are always going to be important, and the efficiency of being able to provide that more often than you fall victim to it is important in terms of kind of looking at the numbers. And this is something that maybe we should talk to Easy Mac about this at some point. I would really like to see like what the clutch percentages are for certain teams in the CDL,
yeah, we used to have
1v2s or like 1v3s or like 2v4s.
Have that back in the day.
Yeah, because like I think the really good Search and Destroy teams are ones that can resort to individuals or duos that you know can pull off 2v3s, 2v4s, 1v2s. So we'll see, because Omit have, I would say, checked that box in certain ways throughout their run so far in this playoff in particular.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal stat. I'm pretty sure we had it a couple years ago, and I think it was like Dashy, like 2 or 3 seasons where he was leading in 1v1s, obviously 1v2s. He had like 3 or 4 1v3s. We were able to keep track of that, and that helps because like if you're a team that sucks at getting first bloods, but you're really good at Search and Destroy, you're figuring it out even in a man disadvantage. So I can only imagine if you had all 4 players on the map, what your strategies would look like. That's just one of those numbers that just tells you if you're getting blooded and your teammates are clutch on all rounds, those mid-round adjustments are basically perfect. You are understanding, still, we can take care of this round, we can set it up properly, play to our style, and teams that can do that stand a better chance at just winning everything, because man disadvantage S&D rounds, those are tough to come by, and
they really
are
are
victorious in them.
Yeah, they really are. Not to just sit and highlight what we saw from Linz yesterday, him being able to showcase that, but we kind of talked about it on the CDL broadcast. We saw the numbers for it. Mamba has been impressive in terms of the Spartans lens when it comes to that viewpoint, in terms of him being able to individually come away in clutch moments. His individual KD has been really, really strong throughout the playoffs. So definitely a guy on the other side that has been able to scratch that itch in terms of things we're talking about for good Search and Destroy teams. And in particular, we've seen that a lot on maps like Hacienda. We've seen maps like Protocol come through for Royal Spartans that have largely been thanks to how Mamba has played individually. So just kind of giving you guys something to look at on both sides. Again, we're not going to really see these guys with as much individual hard focus until EWC, or I guess maybe Challengers playoffs.
Yeah, they got Major 3, they got Major 4.
Yeah,
like
but like in terms of like a broadcast is concerned, like, you know, due to the workflow, we only see one match at a time. So it's like if they're lucky enough to be on stage, and it is one of those things. Like, it's just the capabilities of dealing with a 64 to 128 team, match and an open bracket. You're not going to see everybody. You're not going to be able to get a chance to really dig into their gameplay and see what they can provide outside of results. And I know that there's a lot of individual social media guys that are out there, CDC Intel, the Pit, stuff like that are doing their best to be able to track those scores, but again, without being over someone's shoulder in person, you're not going to have those. But we are, again, as you see, the draw comes through, players looking to pull certain servers. This could take a little bit, so hopefully it won't be too long. We're going to step away for just a brief break, come back to the search track. Welcome back, everybody. We are jumping on into the Search and Destroy map number 2 here between Omit and the Royal Spartans. Omit coming up cleanly in the Hacienda hardpoint. If you're joining us late, the Royal Spartans looking for a bounce back on a map that they have trusted a lot in their search pool.
Oh, and I love this initial play from Omit. Like, just setting the tone. You know that the Spartans are going to try to play with the aggression, so let's just spread the map, allow them to run into us, try to read what their setup is looking like. Brack gaining a lot of info. They have some secret presence, and now they're going to send in Lins potentially for the first blood, while Standy is keeping them distracted from the front.
Yeah. So Lins, good corner here, gets the lineup, enough damage to force the team kill. And like you talked about, Jay, once a first blood like this comes through, you may chalk the rod completely. Cruz and Mamba, last ones left alive, and I will say those are the people you would want.
It all depends on if Cruz can time this perfectly, know where the play's coming in. You're able to spot him and also able to find the kill. It's a 3v2. You probably want to play for this trade, but Cruz playing his life beautifully is giving his team a chance here.
I think he was a touch, but yeah, that fall onto Mamba means that Cruz will have to do it all. He's going to get a read on this rotation back over to A, though. If he can catch an angle, maybe there's a chance, but no. Doesn't get into connector first, and with that, Omit, take their numbers and run away with it.
Yeah, easy first round, man. You allow them to run into you. You slow down the game. Know that your opponents love to play aggressive on their search and destroy. They try to take secret away. Standy keeps them at bay through top spiral, and then they run right into the premium of Lins. Technically only finds one kill, but the shot's good enough. He would have been able to find a double. Instantly make it a 4v2. And then just play your numbers to trade it out. Omit secure the first round. And if you're the Spartans, those are rounds where, like, you want to be able to set the tone early on. But, like, if they're not showing anything, there's no reason why to try to overextend. Like, you have a lot of space. Let's just hold it instead of running into them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, it's just such a tough situation when you lose on 2 like that in a position of trying to just take away space. So the aggression gets countered, at least on the defensive side. Won't be the case here on the offensive side as the SMGs provide the first 2 kills for Royal Spartans, and the bomb is getting planned early.
Yeah, Lins does find a kill there. On to Wiz, though. 30 seconds to go. You're able to spot someone towards our defense. Nade's not able to connect him with the backside of well. Now the repinch from Dak is probably going to be too hard to cover. Still 20 seconds to go. Brack makes it a 2v2.
Dak gets another isolated 1v1 win. Slips away. Shots from Brack alert this post plant to where he'd be coming from, and there should be a crossfire setup here, and there is. Yeah, well done. Okay, so with that, again, first blood's taken the tone, and all that come from SMGs so far, and we talked about it, you talked about it especially a lot, the reinforced barrel coming into the play has really let these SMGs shine this week.
Yeah, they feel like they could just be Superman at certain points. And that's exactly what that round turned out to be, because once Roy Spartan was able to push their way through well, no tax being invested over the top, no one contesting through top secret. They don't waste any time to get that objective down, and then Wiz takes space away. That wasn't really guaranteed, but he found the time to sneak on through for the first blood. And Dak, once the bomb gets planted, also finds a second onto Standy, so instantly make it into a 4v2. You just play the trades, play your numbers. You're able to tie the game up at 1. Now I love this slow approach here from the Spartans to just have a spread map set up.
1v1 over the middle, gets traded. So now an early 3v3. Wiz, this is bold, slips himself right into bottom secret, and it will be rewarded. That's the bomb carrier down. Wiz will slip back over and just keep kind of running figure eights in and around this bottom secret position as Dak has got a good look at what's outside. Or does he?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dak is able to spot at least one. He's definitely going to get that trade on a Sparty. Now, it's Brack in a 1v2. You think Brack stands no chance in these rounds. Pulls something out of nothing. Almost finds the read onto the first guy. But Dak plays perfect in the corner. Laying prone. Playing for the instant chow. With the preferred weapon in hand. That Jackal secures the round there for his team. After they strike again with the first blood.
Yeah. First blood's telling the story here early. Not a surprise to see that or hear that, I'm sure, if you've been watching this year's COD. Or really, in the last 3 years worth of COD. 4 years? Cold War, I don't think, was as definitive with First Bloods as the last handful of years were, but
I felt like, yeah, see, Cold War, you had a lot more chances of pulling off like 2v3s, 2v4s, you know? It's the way that the gunplay was at that time, but this game, like, if you die first, you're just not giving your team an advantage, so gotta figure it out.
Ooh, little kind of a bait and switch right there as Omit had taken a handful of members up top towards Art Windows. First blood comes through for Brack, but Wiz hitting a route early with Dak. Oh, it's shut down completely. That's what to say. This is a lot of AR focus right now in the composition for Omit, playing those top window positions, but they still deal with the pressure of the SMGs, and very quickly it's on to a 1v3 for Cruz.
And Cruz knows that they're most likely going to be set up around this plat area, but no one is giving him anything to work with. So, with 45 seconds, he's taking on a freebie. He spots Brack, plays for the instant chow over towards office, but a little bit weak. That guy has 100% HP. You're going to lose that gunfight, especially when he also has a Jacko in hand. Lynn's able to be the closer on the round, but that time, Omit strike for the first blood. Wiz and Dak try to run around as an army as two. You can always depend on that to be the case. Like if you spot Wiz, Dak is most likely going to be really close by. But after he gets one kill, he's traded, and Dak is not able to find one. So numbers in favor of Omit. They secure it, tie the game.
Yeah, good stuff, man. And it's just so curious to see how that round unfolds, because it is Omit just playing with 3 ARs up top, looking to just overwhelm the window battle. It works. But for them to be able to also shut down, without any information, the double hit from Patio is impressive. So 2-2. We're going to get a show of force here by Omit, but simultaneously, Brack is hitting a water route. So I love this. You know, we've seen teams who just kind of wait and toggle and play around, saying, we're going to wait for this guy to get to Boathouse. Not Omit, not here. They're going to get the bomb down. This is going to force the focus of the Spartans to be in the front, and Brack should have an absolute freebie or two in this back position through Flowers, although he actually kind of gives up the position maybe a bit too soon. Still will find the first, but he has a chance to be isolated here. May not matter.
Yeah, no, it's not going to matter. Like, once you get that bomb down, he takes that position over to his bull. You have everything that you want and the objective down with rock control. Now it's a 1v3 for Mamba. He's not going to stand the chance, and that's just a beautiful round. Because if you're Cruz, you were in a position to spot that cross. Like, you saw him slide to the side and try to get that objective down. But you just really couldn't contest it. By the time you did, you invested the nade, doesn't connect. You try to put down shots, he's already off the site. So at that point, you're focused like, all right, we have them trapped on bomb. There's no way anyone's able to slip on through. But the route right there out of Brack gives the safety net there to his teammates. Like, all right, they can show face there. But eventually, I'm going to flank them, and this should be a guaranteed round. Just make sure you guys watch your open. Make sure you guys watch your pinch. An easy, perfectly executed play there out of Omit on the offense. Take the advantage.
Yeah, man. And it's another one of those maps that you start to feel the trends and the patterns kind of providing opportunities and edges for Omit. So need to see something to counteract that if you're the Spartans. Going to take a slow page out of their playbook here. And Brack will already clear out Art Hallway. And it's going to be 2 members right on top of Secret Stairs. And the longer this kind of unfolds, the more security that Omit can just take a long rotation, onto Spart back to B, because you've got complete A control. There's just nowhere that Royal Spartans can go towards A. Unless Lens gives up his life.
Yeah, Lens is not going to ego chow there. Thankfully, he's able to play his life. But now 45 seconds to go. Brack is now banking on this cross. You already have teammates watching over towards well. Brack is at least able to spot one. Doesn't see the bomb planted though. And the nade good enough to back him out of the position. Wiz strikes for the first blood. Mamba finds a second on the pinch. 4v2. This should be around for Spartans.
Yeah, and Mamba will get out of there. He's got help on the way, but Lens tracks it down with the pistol. Staying alive, just bottom side stairs. Dak on the hunt. Lens doesn't have the wingspan to connect onto the knife to Dak. And Spart, who's been tagged up, there's just not a chance here for this 1v3. Good read and reaction from the Royal Spartans. I think especially just the ability for them to rotate to B and get that little isolated nade and follow up first blood.
Yeah, there was just no way in hell you're going to be able to read that if you're Omit, though. Because, like, you get aggressive initially to start the round through B. You already take top open control. They don't show face through top spire because the doors are closed. And then they have no secret control as well. So it's just like, all right, they're camping their spawn. What are they going to do next? It's just, they were more set up around that rotation over towards A than they were over towards B. And that catches them off guard because the only thing you had being your safety net there was Brack watching that cross through top open. But once it's done, and the nade is able to force him out of the position, and the first blood fight starts to go down. He's giving the panic comms. All right, they're at B, they're at B. Someone's trying to react, and they just all get caught in their routes.
Yeah, and I think that first blood in towards open hall really sets everything kind of into disaster mode for Omit, because the idea of them rotating Sparta around the back is a good one. It's just once you lose that hallway control, everything starts to falter. Bomb plant's going to come through. Linz, why do we not have our
much.
gun up, my guy? Like, running deep into the defensive spawn, he's got a pistol out. So that's a
Yeah.
forfeit of a first blood, and now Spartans with the numbers.
Yeah, it was just too much space taken there from Linz. He thought he was going to have a free B, and essentially all the Spartans are working on the bench, but now teams have to clutch up in a man disadvantages. Standy might have just made the perfect play. The reflank through outer fence has 2 players weak. Can't find the gunfight, though. Now it's a 1v3, but time's on Brack's side.
Yeah, it sure is. There's the wait. Oh,
blah, 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 blah.
yeah. I just like
That's...
yeah. I'm gonna.
I respect the play. I respect the play, Alan. The trigger isn't playing, you know, like, no one's on the defuse. Let me time these kills correctly. But with 2 players just running across your screen like that, it's pulling your auto aim all over the map. And unfortunately for him, he couldn't line up either one of those kills. But to backtrack a little bit, like, it just falls into the hands of Linz overextending a little too much. Didn't need to take all that space to the backside of 10, give up a free first blood, and have your team in a post plant and a man down.
I just don't understand why you're it's fine that you get through 10, you get that corner to get around towards the defensive spawn, but like, why do we have our pistol out? Like,
Yeah,
the difference
to not be
between
ready is insane.
Yeah, the difference between running with your pistol and running with your sub out at that part of the map with that timing is so marginal. Like, it's just it's brain dead. That's just a stupid play. Like, ridiculous. So Spartans will take an edge, and they're gonna get some control early over the A site. Good stun check here for Brack. The nade to follow should land. Doesn't matter. It pushes him out, and that's enough for first blood. Plant is through, and Standy will follow up 4v2.
Yeah, and this is Standy's go-to whenever they're playing the retake over towards A. Let me just be a nuisance through mid-connector. Just strikes at the right time. Now it's a 1v4 for Mamba. Not able to get out of dodge, and that's a perfect 4v4 retake there for Omit. It all starts by gaining some info early on once that bomb gets down. Like, they spot the player crossing into 10. You're able to use your tacks to back him out of his position, find that opening kill, and then once the action starts, you know that we have the man up. I already have players in a position outside of 10 and ready for the drop down and close fence. So Standy gets aggressive through connector, finds that second kill, and at that point, you're just simply outnumbered. Tie game, 4-4.
Yeah, really smart and really smooth bounce back there for Omit. It's the offensive side that has caused them a bit of an issue, though. So we'll see.
When
what
they try to do too much, yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, that's, to be fair, like, that's just kind of what Linz has done all year long. And really, it's kind of been the way Linz has played since he was on that champion of Wobabob's team. Like, that team was when I thought Linz looked like the best version of himself. And since being in the league and now being pushed back into challengers, it just feels like he's just kind of off doing his own thing at times. And, well, to be candid, sometimes it works and it makes us look a little bit, you know, foot and mouth. But there's other moments you say, dude, like, what? But first blood here, Omit 4v3, and taking their time with their numbers here.
Yeah, I love this. On that early first blood, now you're forcing the Spartans to sort of make a decision because they're stacked heavy over towards B, and they have no information over towards the same site, but Mamba strikes at the right time. Able to take down Brack, make it a 3v3. But Omit said, screw contesting over towards B, let's just get this bomb down today.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not. Wow. This might be too cute again, Jay. You've got a long flank already on the route. Royal Spartans will have their eyes firmly planted on window. I think they think there's actually a Omit member still up here. Got Mamba watching from office. Dak now clears. And he will see that this post plant is firmly on the low ground. Big win for Standy. That 1v1 could have changed this round completely for the Spartans, but instead they're in a 3v1. And Dak is on the wrong side of the map at the moment.
Yeah, you just watch your crosses there if you're Omit. Once you get that first kill, big opening kill from Standy to make it man advantage in their favor. And Wiz tries to make up for it, gets caught. Dak in a 1v3, 20 seconds left to go. He's just simply not going to have enough time to stick to defuse or find all 3 kills. So Omit off the back of the first blood, slow down the round. Mamba makes up for it, makes it a 3v3. And I thought it was going to come back to bite him when they took so long to get the objective down, but Roy Spartans just, like, off the rotation. They just stayed still. Like, they didn't really account for any of the space that they just took and used that for information. They just waited for that plant to go down, not able to spot anyone on the cross, and that first kill was everything from Standy.
Yeah, really was. Again, there's a moment there where Mamba, if he wins that up top, there's a realistic chance because they'd already cleared out window, but it doesn't happen. So now you're in a 5-4 situation. The Spartans going to take all 4 members immediately over towards the A side of the map, and there is a significant defensive presence here. Most particularly Standy playing outside fences. You've got a double stack, 1 down low on this Stonewall position the other up top, and Standy will find first blood and stop this entire play at A by himself with Linz watching the return.
Oh, and now the Spartans sort of feel like they're trapped. Like, you don't want to raptor your spawn, so you're going to try to push through their base or potentially just get the bomb down. Hopefully, you're able to stay alive, and Linz doesn't spot the size 13s. He's not able to see it. Bomb gets planted. No, Omit still have the numbers, though.
Yeah. Dak playing inside connector. Rewrap coming through for Mamba. Dak has to stay alive. Not going to be able to. Bruce, can you provide? No. Nah, this is going to be the map. Say Mamba's in a good spot to watch over the top of this, but now everyone knows where you're at. First two are really clean, to be fair, but Spart was on the long route to make sure that window position gets cleared out, and that will be enough for Omit to take map number 2. 6-4 the tally, and that comes after a couple of mistakes, but regardless of it, Omit just too good today at the moment for this Royal Spartans team.
Yeah, it's a little too much to handle. I was just expecting, you know, the Spartans to have a lot better strategies in their S&D. They obviously came out the gate swinging. They tried to take the map away from them, walk right into their setup with them basically camping their spawn. That's not what you want to do. Like, if they're not going to show you anything, let's just wait for them to plant the bomb to beat us. Like, we don't have to force gunfights in Search and Destroy to lose a round. Like, we can just not allow them to plant it, and we're going to be okay. But there's a couple risks that don't work out in their favor in that final round. It was a beautiful setup from Omit. They play super patient through their spawn. They have a double stack over towards B with Standy playing that nice little credit corner at the fences. But you saw, like, once we jumped over to Brack's POV, his job is to just, like, be a distraction. I'm going to put down shots over you so they don't account for you potentially in that spot, and then you peek at the right time. And he also found the kill. So at that point, like, the Spartans just got outclassed, got outplayed by the playbook on the side of Omit. Now they're up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah. And losing out on this map is maybe the death's dagger here for the Spartans, just due to the fact that we've seen them look good on really both the Hacienda Hardpoint and the Hacienda Search over the course of the last 2 seasons, or this season even in particular during the group stage. But missing out on both of these leaves us trying to negotiate and determine how exactly do you get a reverse sweep going. And it just feels like Omit right now are just a step too good, and the Spartans, unfortunately, after falling short yesterday, it just doesn't really feel like they're clicking still even today.
Yeah, it's so crazy because, like, when you got a chance to look like the Spartans throughout this entire elite stage, they had days where they were the best team in the game. Like, they show up, win both their series, clean 3-0s, and then there's days where they just don't show up at all, and then they just get ran over. You saw it yesterday on display in that series with Omit Brooklyn, and right now that is the same case. Like, they just haven't been able to figure out a consistent way to play the game. Just playing,
fair.
You're taking way too many risks when you're playing against these established squads who have strategies, who are prepared to retake you certain ways. You can't really afford to take unnecessary space because then you're isolating yourself. And that's the thing that's currently happening to the Spartans. A lot of players are just getting isolated. You're thinking that you're having a lot more space that you can work with when you realistically don't. Timings aren't going their way. And now that you're down 0-2 in this series, going into a vault control, we watched them play this yesterday. Like, their breakoffs were abysmal. You lost every single one of them versus Omit Brooklyn. You couldn't get your SMGs going. And that's sort of been the same case. Like, Wiz gave us a little bit in map number 1, but usually we like to see Dak and Wiz running around together as an S&D duo. They couldn't find any comfortability on that map number 2, and now on Vault Control, I don't know, man. This is gonna be really tough for them to try to fight back into this one. But, you know, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think on the other side, just to kind of, you know, take one step maybe too far here to looking at this Omit team and how they would potentially stack up against Omit Brooklyn. It's interesting because Omit Brooklyn, like, they are who they are, but at the same point, it also is a new player in the mix, as Prolude has subbed in for Rex since he was called up to the Ravens. I'm sure you guys at this point all know that. But nothing felt terribly different for Omit Brooklyn in how they played, even with Prolude in the mix. So there is a level of, like, trying to take that as they made a change, but doesn't really feel like much has changed. And now taking that to an Omit team that's starting off flawlessly here today, you know, where they have played with good conviction, good rotation presence on the hard point. A couple of maybe overextensions, a little overheating on the search, but largely still kind of controlling the tempo and the pace at their own terms. I think that's good news in terms of how they could possibly jump back to a grand finals and be able to contest against a Brooklyn squad that, yes, has a good system, but if it starts to get tested and there's a monkey wrench thrown into it, how do they change? How do they adapt? How do they mold against adversity? We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we have no idea because we've only been able to see them with one time with Prolude, and that was the series versus Spartans, which they walked away with a clean 3-0. So haven't really been battle tested yet. Potentially are going to have that matchup versus Omit because they're sitting up 2-0 in this series in the elimination finals. So much on the line here for these gentlemen. Not only their reputations, not only their stocks, but a lot of money to work with. $10,000 for third place, $16,000 for second, and $24K for number one. Omit Brooklyn, they have been real familiar with that first place check. They're trying to make it 3 times in a row. But this is a $6,000 match. If you're the Spartans right here currently in this eliminated final, you better go take a little bathroom break, come back, get hydrated, maybe get some Sunny D outside, some vitamin D from the sun. Because we need to come to life here. We do not want to roll over and die because that only hurts your stock. This is the final league. You got nothing else to show without eyes being on you.
And when you said get some Sunny D, I was just like thinking of,
Sorry.
No, I was to say it's a kick in a can. That was Tang. Wasn't that the catchphrase for Tang?
Yeah, no, but there was Sunny Delight. Wait,
I know. I'm trying to think what the catchphrase for Tang was.
Tangy was that thing, though, dude. I'm telling you.
Catchphrase. I want to say it was like a kick in a glass or something like that.
Oh, yeah, Tang. It's a kick in a glass.
All right.
That stuff was disgusting. Wow.
You're tripping. Wow.
Nah, bro. Powdered orange juice? Pass.
So you ever had Kool-Aid? Yeah.
That's different, though.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys, though, like it wasn't grape, it was purple when it comes to Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
I think that was every kid, honestly. I know that there's, like, jokes around it, but, like, when everyone asks, like, hey, what kind of Kool-Aid do you want? You just said blue or red. You didn't say flavors. You just said colors.
Well, I know what kind of Kool-Aid Royal Spartans are looking for, and that's a miracle kind, because at least for now, you're down 0-2 in the series. You get a clean forward dead off of your defensive push, and now you are pushing pace into their spawn. You can potentially build some momentum here if you only allow 2 segments to go away. But all the time being wasted now, Omit are going to slow down their approach, trying to clear out their spawn before they make a move.
Good follow-up here from Wiz. Keeps the eyes forward here for the Spartans with 45 seconds remaining, and grades are okay for Omit. Keeps them away from a spawn trap, but they're still not finding any presence on the zones themselves. This route for Mamba, though, maybe a little too long of a route now that they're aware of it. Yeah, you can just stack on the point, keep your eyes forward, and say, we'll leave Mamba here. Who cares? Let's get the extra 60. It's exactly what comes happening.
Yeah, extra time. Now Mamba has to get back into the play. Thankfully, he strikes at the right time. Find his second kill in sync. Gonna get pressured by Standy. Unfortunately, lose that gunfight. But you're still up by 3 lives if you are the Spartans. Just now, Omit are already in your grill, contesting at the front side of this B point. Thankfully, Wiz is winning gunfights to the middle of the map. So you have angles to set up these pitches. With Spart with the double is going to make this a little bit more mixy.
Yeah, Dak will take a peek. Read perfectly by Brack. He also knows there's someone down low. Damage on the Cruz is decent. Standy to follow up. First tick done, second on the way. Double stack here. You got to reduce this if you're the Spartans, and they're just not finding the kills that they need. Second tick looking positive here as Dak will be shut down. Help is coming off the respawn. There's a second tick. And you've got Standy knowing that he's got pressure for the Spartans. He's got to play forward. Standy will find 2 on the cut. Last player really left to contest this would be up top at Art. And Cruz is being held back. Dak for 1. Stun. Doesn't seem to matter much. And okay, that's going to be a reset with the defense in an 8v8.
Yeah, that's good plays from Dak. He's able to fly on in, find a triple there to relieve the pressure.
Wait, no one's going to touch this, Jay.
Is here contesting. There's only a 1v1. He's able to line up a double with the pistol, but now this pinch from Standy might break them.
Sure feels that way. Standy gets 1, gets out. Teammate back onto the point. You know you've got to touch. That was an unbelievable individual play from Brack to get 2. And get on the zone and put that thing within mere fractions of being fully captured. And it just forces all the Spartans to come out. Those long routes, those pinches through mid. Super successful, and Omit doing what they had done really through yesterday, just continuing to find offensive wins on the vault control.
And that's crazy how that all spirals off of that one play where Mamba's just pushing over towards bombs, because this is the best player on our screen where your teammates are just not getting outnumbered, just getting outgunned. Spart just walks on in, is able to find the leading double. Now his team is able to reinforce right behind them, be able to find a triple before Mamba's even able to get into the play. Just not having the numbers in that situation or not trading effectively allowed Omit to just hit the different gear once they captured that A point and keep it mixy over towards B. They complete all 6 segments. Spartans looking to play catch up here, and it's all about the break off.
Omit able to find first blood. Trades are through, though. Yeah, good shots from Wiz. That's going to allow a very easy route for the Spartans to jump onto the A point and really force Omit. Have to play off of the extension through B Street. Trophy system denied. Semtex to create space. First tick has not been stacked for, so it only comes through now. Brack's double on the flank will allow this simultaneous hit from the front to work out, and it's just another one of those moments, like, you've gotten the player into Lion, like, just get on the point and stack it, get a second tick at least.
Yeah, bro, because that's what allows Omit to develop on such long routes. They're realizing, okay, they only have one person on. Like, everybody else is playing for a cutoff kill. So we can take a long route and find an opening on that angle. Brack does it and finds an opening double. And then you just simply get outnumbered in the rest of the trades. It's like, we need more objective focus if you are the Spartans. Now with 40 seconds to go, you have some pressure towards the middle of the map. You're winning the initial gunfight. Standy, you cannot allow him to break you again. And thankfully, you're able to instantly take care of him. A should be done and dusted. You should be able to extend this time here.
Yeah, but you got a good presence from Brack here over towards Golds, looking to set up again on this same pinch position. He's forcing spawns out, though, so you really don't have to do too much. You've kept, the Spartans trapped inside the previously captured A zone. Good timing here for Brack, but doesn't win the gunfight. Wasn't even stunned, I don't think, just couldn't lock things down. Spart also meets the same fate, trying to play forward, and now all of a sudden Cruz has gotten around the back, and there's an opportunity for the Spartans to try to hit some sort of a flank.
Yeah, and I'm curious there if Spart's going to get the indication that someone is working behind him, because Cruz is taking his time on the backside of Palace, allowing those spawns to come on in so no one gets antsy off the respawn. But now they know exactly where you are. Can you continue to finesse here? He's able to find that kill on the Brack, almost finds the double on the Spart. It at least pulls the attention for Seamus to get on the point.
Andy still finding one, though, before dropping. Keeps it just the DAC on this offensive play. Ult making its way down B Street. Nades exploding all the cars around the point, but the first tick comes through. Cruz has stayed relatively healthy backside palms, but is forced to reload, and in that moment of reload, it will be Standy to clear the point and find an extra. So 14, make it 13, playing up against 10. Mamba creates something on the pinch, but Lynn's, no, can only find the first. This should be at least a two-member stack on B for another pick.
Yeah. Second should be guaranteed, and I don't know if I'm going to be in an opportunity to even contest this, because the cross is being watched from Cruz. No need to overextend. Let's just make my teammates' life a whole lot easier, but they both get picked on the point somehow. Brack and Standy are able to find every single kill in the feed and shut down that push when Cruz had you safe on the cross. That is unacceptable to be ego-challenging in that situation. You threw away that moment, and now with 35 seconds, this is basically your last push. You got no more respawns to work with.
I think while Cruz was making his play up towards front art, two members had dove into the middle of the map and then gotten into vault stairs, where Standy continues to dominate. 10v3. Omit. I mean, you just need a couple of kills, and you're good. But the Spartans, not done yet. You get a wipe, not even a full wipe. You can just stack, get on and stack it. Why are we trying to play forward? You just need to stack, get on, put the pressure for Standy to come back to the point. So now you're going to get a couple of members on. Third tick looking like it's going to come through. There's no trophy system here. Nades trying to get through. The contest is in, but is it enough? Cruz trying to secure it, and he will by staying alive. The last man standing for the Spartans, and the wipe comes through. The point gets captured, and we're tied at 1.
Wow, thankfully the Spartans were able to clutch up there, because they would have been beating themselves up if they let that round go. If Cruz has everything in front of you, they cannot contest from their side line, their side stature, or their side arc. All you have to do from there, if you're the players on points, watch your vault and watch your pinch. That is it. But yes, both of them lose their gunfights. They go 4 dead, but instantly able to respond with 3 in the feed at the same time. So that doesn't really allow Omit off the respawn with all the lives that they had remaining to still try to contest that. That is a miracle run there from the Spartans. They were looking for a spark, and Cruz might have just gave it to them.
Yeah, very well could have. That's the only way they win that round. So great stuff. Spartans taking a bit of a pause here on their defensive break-off. Just wanted to make sure they clear their lanes before they re-aggress upon the A zone. It's worked out nicely. Cruz on 5 in a row. Tags to another. Followed up. Ooh, tried to be followed up by Wiz. Cruz will still capture onto his 6th kill. One more will get him a Hellstorm. Actually, one more will get him a Hellstorm, as he's on 7 in a row holding that pool.
Yeah, just play patient. Allow someone to walk right into you. Sparty knows that he's really close towards the streak, so don't want to try to extend on this gunfight. Let me get a little bit of assistance, and now you're all getting caught. Last person alive is going to be Wiz. Omit walked right through the front door. They're going to guarantee that second segment. Can you try to contest this? It all starts with the opening kill. Dak's able to find it.
Lynn's able to see the feet. Follow-up is perfect, and that should be a stack. Mamba will be seen up top on the balcony and will drop before he
man.
can really even deal any damage into the point. So extra 60, 2 life advantage now. With a minute 52 on the clock. Standy able to get over towards P4. And he can just get to work being a nuisance. But Wiz finds the right angle and the right timing to shut that down.
It's just crazy how, like, the Spartans found the initial kill to potentially find that break onto A, but then no one is in a position to actually hit the point besides Dak. So they all just get isolated outside of the objective. And that allows the Omit to extend time a little bit longer. Only down by 2 lives, but better effective trades so far here from the Spartans. Better map control as well, but Sparty makes him pay for it. He's able to win that one-on-one, and now you got to contest from both angles.
Yeah, Dak is not up top at gold, so he doesn't have an angle to get the member off the zone at the moment. Standy, decent read. Shots don't land fully, but the second opportunity he makes good on. Now the focus goes back into the front side as the defense has cleaned up the B point, but a first stick of progress has been locked. Trophy system down, and here comes Omit making their play up B Street.
Yeah, right up the B Street, using a nade smoke to their advantage to have a little bit more cover, but now what can Standy get done from outer palm? The biggest kill is going to be the one outer R, and Cruz with the movement is able to find the kill. So that's going to stabilize on the push. Cruz again finds another one onto Sparty. He's been their safety net with that AR in hand.
Ball stairs still a threat, but Cruz takes down 1. Second tick being worked on. Pinch, shut down. That's 3 dead. Wiz seen on the corner. Damage, not finished. Standy peeks and gets punished, but the focus from the front still on. Lins for a momentary double stack, but Cruz once again clears the point all by himself, man. How good of a map is he having?
He is just having so many clutch moments here. And if you're a Lens in that situation, you have no idea how Wiz did not die when he was the last man standing. But basically the last push here for Standy. Can he sneak his way on into Art? He is getting shot in towards the back, so they know exactly where he is. But you got to make sure your back is safe at that point. He gets cut down. 25 seconds left to go. Dak on the pitch is going to break them again. Only able to find what, but no more respawns for Omit.
Yeah. Can they find a way to break on in?
No
Just
way.
Get this last tick.
No way.
They've pushed off members. There's the double stack on. Dak, Cruz pushing forward. Kills are decent. Lynn's still alive and kicking. It's just down to Wiz. He's on for the contest. You've got Lynn's at the corner, but the shutdown comes through. Now it's just down to 1. Practice needs to find this kill, but this little dance is enough for allowing the help to come back over. And we will not get drama 2 rounds in a row, just the 1.
Dude, some of these rounds are just insane. Like, the fact that Omit are banking on their front push through B Street every single time, not really relying on, you know, pressure through the back. And they had a couple times where they tried to do it, but they just could never get past the pre-aim of this young man. So many clutch kills. He had to have had like 15 plus on the round because he just went so big time after time over towards that B Street to allow the Spartans to secure that round. They do give up 5 segments, but you're down by 5. But you were able to figure out on your last attack. Can we do it again?
Maybe with a little bit more cleanliness.
Yeah.
See how we go. Break off attempt trying to come through. Focus purely on the A zone. Down low, but ooh. Shots landing, and that's gonna be enough for a first stick, maybe even more starting to come through.
Unless Linz has something to say about it. And so far, he has a lot to say. Finds a double, and now he's going to pull the attention from Dak, allow the teammates to get back into the play. And that's a massive individual finessing play out of Linz. Just giving his team a lifeline to still find a break there at the point. Only 1 segment gets away from them. You're all tied up in life, but you're able to stabilize in that moment.
Bart meets too much resistance on the pinch. Standy. Caught between both Spartans members, but patience works out. You know, they works out perfectly. Just shoulder peeks coming through on the pillars, and Standy will take away the angle. And slips away from another with the reload. Maybe a chance to shut down onto Wiz, but he will stay alive for a small moment around the previously pushed out A zone. But all things told, the Royal Spartans is not able to get anything together with more than just 1 member right now.
Yeah, they just keep on getting out traded. So you need to set up for a final team push. All rallying up through Cat. Looking for the opening kill. Stuns and nades getting invested. Now the double jump is going to be out, but the 2 kills go in favor of Omit. Now you need some icy moments if you are Mamba. Can he get anything more done? He's only able to get one. Cruz there for the trade, but final 5 seconds. You're making a hurrah push over towards B.
Yeah, it's desperation time, though. And Wiz will be the only one alive. Standy's going to find the angle for free. And that will be our first convincing defense, which will lead to Omit staying on this side for round number 5. I mean, it's just one of those situations that, like, you have to give credit where credit is due to the Spartans for finding a defensive win in the last one, but it is still one of those situations that comes with too much cost.
Yeah.
And that's just what Omit does to you, man. Offensively, they're just so good at getting the quick capture on the first point and then just being so difficult to deal with, creating space and time at B.
Yeah, and sometimes it just relies on individual players making big-time plays. They just simply get outnumbered, but you still have a Lens that's alive and busting and through the middle of the map, able to find a double and get out with his life, allow his teammates off the respawn to put themselves back into the play with the numbers advantage. And then off of that sequence, you're just able to consistently out-trade them in that aspect. So Omit able to stand strong. Go back-to-back on the defensive rounds here in round number 5. Warriors Spartans looking for a good break-off, so they're taking their time in this approach. Again.
Good first. Lens. I'll just let this trophy.
And these rounds suck.
Yeah, they're just not well timed, and it's just one of those things. Like once you lose your members from the front, those players on the overextension just have nowhere to go. Like they're stuck there.
Bro.
Yeah.
Just like, dude, your teammate's dying in the middle of the map. All right, it's way too quiet. No one's playing a trade. They got to be flanking. Like it's just as simple as it can be. And Omit were able to pick them apart initially off the break off, and now you can already see the kill feed and spin stripe. They are effectively traded. Now Brack finds himself on 5 in a row. You're up by 6 lives. 40 seconds left to go. Spartan's going to waste a lot of time just working out of their spawn.
Yeah, I don't know, Jay. It just feels like Omit have gotten a read on what the Spartans have been trying to do on offense. And yes, you can give credit for the cinematics of their first offensive win, but since that point, they have had absolutely nothing to work with. 20 seconds remain, and 14 lives remain here for the Royal Spartans before they will be eliminated in top 3. Clock will pause for a moment with Dak on the B zone, but he gets naded out. And now it's just, again, individual members trying to stretch their way forward, and they are completely trapped.
Yeah, it's over with. It's over with. Roy Spartans, unfortunately for them, you walk into the playoffs. You sure you're at least win your first series versus Vegas. You win your second series versus Omit. You had a highlight reel on a Wednesday. But then you wake up on a Thursday, fall short in that winners finals. You wake up on this Wednesday and Thursday, and you don't win a single map in the winners finals or here in the losers finals. Spartans just, this wasn't their week of Call of Duty, man. It was very sloppy from start to finish whenever they helped out in BOV. And unfortunately for them, you're only going home with 10,000. But that's a good payday, right? At least it was for nothing. You know?
Yeah, that'll get you to Boca and Dallas, at least.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the troubling part about this, and we've seen this happen a number of times in the late seasons of Challenger, late stages of the Challenger season, rather, I should say, where you've trusted the 4-man group. You've trusted the squad for pretty much the entirety of the year. And you've had moments of success, but you have not been able to get over the hurdle of the top teams in North American Challengers. And honestly, they haven't even really come close to getting over the top teams in North American Challengers. And I think what this does to you is it starts forcing you to have, at least internal conversations of, is this team good enough? You know, if you're looking at this, just pick a member at player A through D on Royal Spartans. They can be sitting there having the internal conversation like, is this team good enough? Because, I think you start putting that into question because you haven't been able to beat the likes of Omit or Omit Brooklyn, even sometimes not being able to get past like teams like Team War. It's like when you don't have the ability of finding wins against those squads and you're looking at your season saying we have to qualify for EWC to make this season worthwhile. I don't know. Just it creates so much doubt, I think, in the process that you've tried to trust up until this point, 3 seasons in.
Nah, 100%. You're definitely going to have that doubt factor. Like, this might not be it. This might be a waste of time, or this is not the squad that I want to play with. But I really do like this lineup. Like, I love the chemistry that they have. It's just like when they're on point, they're one of the toughest teams to beat. It's just when they're not on point and everyone just thinks they're just Superman at certain points, it's just never going to work out like that. This is not the title of Call of Duty to be playing individual gameplay. Like, no, you're going to get isolated. We're taking way too many risks on our